Okay, somebody was asking me how to do the crayon, so I'm going to demonstrate that real quick. If I go into Google, I can type in crayons, and then I can click on images and pull up. I want what's called an orthogonal view of the crayons. This one is orthogonal, meaning it's flat. It's a photo that's flat and represents like sort of almost like a 2D version of it. So I'm going to copy that, paste it into Illustrator, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the pen tool to trace half of the crayon. So switching over the pen tool, P on the keyboard, I'm going to start at this point here, click here, 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 and then come down, go to about here. Now it's not perfect, so I'm going to sort of guess and come down here. These are all single clicks, by the way. Okay, here, and then make sure it's lined up with that green line before I click there, and then complete the line by clicking at the very top where I started. Great. So now I'm going to switch over to the Move tool, V on the keyboard. If you're not using V on the keyboard for your Move tool, you're behind because that is absolutely essential to know. Saves you time. Okay, so I'm switching this to no stroke over here, no stroke, and red fill, just like that. Cool, so that's half of the crayon, and now what I'm going to do is click on it and choose Effect 3D Revolve. And I can turn Preview on and choose OK. Cool. Now, if I want to put a label on top of the crayon, I can. I'll show you how. First, you have to make the label. So let me show you how I'm doing that. First, I'm going to use M on the keyboard, which is the rectangle tool. And I'm going to create a very light colored gray sort of wrapper for the crayon. Something like that. And now I'm going to switch to L on the keyboard for the ellipse tool. And I'm going to choose a darker gray. Oops, I want to deselect first. Okay, L on the keyboard, darker gray for the wrapper. And I'm going to create that ellipse just like this. Cool, and I'll move that on to the wrapper, but I'm going to move it on to, I guess, the center. That'll be fine. And now I'm going to use the text tool and use the color. What color are my crayons again? I guess they're using whatever color was there, which would be like see-through. But I'm just going to do white instead for simplicity's sake. Oops, need to deselect. Now I'll draw a box and say crayons, just like that. That's not the font they're using, but that's fine. I'm going to switch that to white and using the Move tool, position it on top of the label. Okay, it's a little too big, so I'm going to just change that down just a little bit. Actually, I think it's supposed to be Crayola. That's better. Okay. So now reposition that. And when it's done, I'm going to click on the Symbols palette, or you can go to Windows Symbols. And all I'm going to do is, first I'm going to group it, so Apple G, or you can go to Object Group like that. And I'm going to move it onto the Symbols panel and call it Crayola Wrapper. And this is a graphic. Great. So to put this label onto the crayon, I need to click back on the crayon and choose the Appearance panel and go back into this 3D Revolve effect right here. So click on that, and I need to check Preview. And this time I'm going to choose this button here, Map Art. And the next step is to choose which face of the geometry I'm mapping the artwork onto. So I need to click on these arrows here until I get the really long one. Here it is. And it'll show you because there's a red lines around that part. So to insert the symbol, I click on this arrow here and scroll down to Crayola wrapper. Now the only remaining step is to rotate it to fit. So holding shift, I'm going to rotate this thing. That looks good. Oops. Try that again. Good. And now I just need to scale it so it fits. So I'm just hold shift again and scale that sucker. Sometimes it gets a little off. Cool. And if I want the Crayola business to be visible, all I have to do is, oops, this gizmo is a little tricky sometimes. Okay, now I'm just going to move it so that the Crayola wrapper is showing. Good. So notice there's a little bit of white above and below right here. And that's okay because that reflects actually how some real crayons look. Okay. Done. Great. So it looks fairly decent. It seems like it's a little bit glitched out over here. I'm not exactly sure why. But it could just be the way Illustrator is displaying it, and actually it's not broken. So I duplicated this crayon and I'm going to change it to different colors. It's very easy to do that. Because I haven't done an object expand, I can still change the colors very easily. And there you have it.